Welcome back to my channel. You're listening to Season 8. In this season, we'll dive into the big shifts shaping how we design, build, and run technology, and how these shifts connect to the way we think about business, services, and people. The world of IT and digital transformation is full of buzzwords: agile, DevOps, product centricity, AI. But behind every term, there's a deeper story about where it came from, the problems it tried to solve, and what it really means in practice. This season is about more than just laying eggs. It's about cackling too, sharing experiences, learning from mistakes, and building collective knowledge. We'll explore the history of agile software development, the move from projects to true product thinking, and how to manage a backlog that actually delivers value. We'll talk about business model and value proposition canvases, what makes a strong business case, and why the shift from body leasing to a consulting mindset is so critical. There will be episodes on service excellence, DevOps culture, ITIL processes, service blueprints, and even the realities of running transactional systems like SAP. And of course, we'll look ahead at how AI and Gen AI are changing software development and requirements engineering. Some episodes will be short reflections. Others will go deep into frameworks and practices. And sometimes we'll bring in voices from the field who are living these challenges every day. So wherever you are, commuting, working out, or just taking a break, welcome to Season 8 of my channel. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going on a journey to explore AI, not just as a futuristic concept, but as a very real part of our lives, with a special focus on the land of watches, chocolate, and innovation, Switzerland. Today we look at the journey from unknown incompetence to known competence. At first the phrase sounds a little harsh, incompetence, but it is not meant as an insult. It is a learning model that describes the stages we all move through whenever we develop a new skill. When we start something new, whether it is programming, consulting, managing a team, or even driving a car, we usually do not know what we do not know. That is called unknown incompetence. As we learn, we become aware of our gaps, and that awareness pushes us forward. Step by step, with effort, we gain competence. First conscious, then eventually unconscious, meaning we do it naturally without thinking. Today we will unpack this model, look at how it applies to the world of technology and consulting, and discuss why awareness of these stages is crucial for individuals and organizations alike. The model describes 4 main stages of learning. The first stage is unknown incompetence. This is when we are unaware of our lack of skill. Think of a child who has never been on a bicycle and believes it must be easy. The second stage is known incompetence. This is when we try the new skill, struggle, and realize, I cannot do this yet. The same child falls off the bike and understands it takes balance. The third stage is conscious competence. This is when we can perform the skill, but it takes deliberate effort. The child stays on the bike, but must think carefully about pedaling and steering. The fourth stage is unconscious competence. This is when the skill becomes second nature. The adult rides the bike effortlessly, able to hold a conversation while pedaling. Every new capability we gain follows this path. The stages cannot be skipped. You cannot jump straight from ignorance to mastery. You have to stumble, reflect, and practice. The first stage, unknown incompetence, is powerful and dangerous at the same time. It is powerful because ignorance often gives people confidence. They underestimate the difficulty, which makes them more willing to try. This can be a great motivator at the start. But it is also dangerous because it blinds us to risks. In technology, a new developer might say, security is simple, I will just add a password. Or a manager might say, we can adopt agile ways of working in 1 week. Both underestimate the complexity. Organizations often get into trouble here. They launch large programs without realizing what they do not yet know. And when reality hits, it feels painful. The key lesson is, unknown incompetence is natural, but it must be recognized quickly. Otherwise, overconfidence leads to poor decisions. The second stage is known incompetence. This is the moment of awareness. It is when you realize, this is harder than I thought. For many, this is the most uncomfortable stage. It is where frustration lives. You are aware of your shortcomings, but do not yet have the skill to overcome them. A new developer writes code, but it crashes. A consultant tries to facilitate a workshop, but the room stays silent. A leader runs their first strategy meeting and sees confusion in the team. This stage is where resilience matters most. Many people quit here because the gap between expectation and reality feels too large. But for those who push through, the learning curve accelerates. Recognizing your incompetence is not failure. It is the beginning of growth. Stage 3 is conscious competence. This is the point where you can do the skill, but it requires focus and energy. Think of the developer who now writes code that runs successfully, but only by carefully checking documentation and testing each line. Or the new consultant who can run a workshop, but only by following a script and preparing every detail in advance. At this stage, mistakes still happen, but progress is clear. It is the grind of practice. And practice is essential because it builds the pathways that eventually lead to automatic mastery. The danger in this stage is fatigue. It takes effort to stay focused all the time. The temptation is to look for shortcuts. But mastery comes only from repetition and reflection. Conscious competence is the stage where habits are built. Finally, stage 4 is unconscious competence. This is the level of mastery where you perform the skill almost without thinking. A senior developer can read code and immediately see potential issues. An experienced facilitator can sense the energy of a room and adapt in real time. A seasoned leader can spot risks in a strategy before anyone else notices. This stage is powerful because it frees up mental capacity. Once a skill is automatic, you can focus on higher-level problems. The driver who no longer thinks about shifting gears can now pay attention to traffic and navigation. But there is also a risk. When skills become unconscious, experts may forget how hard the early stages were. They may struggle to teach beginners because they no longer remember what it felt like to be incompetent. This is why humility is so important at the mastery level. So how does this model apply to technology teams? In software development, a beginner may not even realize the importance of clean code or testing. That is unknown incompetence. After their first production bug, they realize they lack skill. Known incompetence. With guidance and repetition, they learn to test carefully. Conscious competence. And after years of experience, writing maintainable code becomes natural. Unconscious competence. Here is where responsibility comes in. A person who has reached known competence is aware of what they cannot yet do, but also of what others may not even realize. That awareness comes with a duty. If you know that testing is critical, even if you are still learning how to do it well, you are responsible for telling newcomers that it matters. If you realize that workshop facilitation is not easy, you are responsible for warning others not to underestimate it. In other words, people at the known competence stage must help others move out of unknown incompetence. They shine a light on the blind spots. Without that, beginners remain unaware of the risks. Healthy teams are built on this chain of responsibility, each stage helping the one below to see further. At the organizational level, the same model applies. A company might start digital transformation in unknown incompetence, thinking it is only about buying new tools. Then reality sets in. Processes clash, culture resists, and the company realizes it is in known incompetence. With external support and persistent learning, the company eventually becomes consciously competent, adopting new practices deliberately. And after enough cycles of success, digital capability becomes natural. And just as in teams, responsibility plays a role here. Leaders who know the pitfalls, even if they are still learning themselves, must call them out so the organization can move past blind optimism. Without that, the entire company risks repeating the same mistakes again and again. What can you take away from this model? First, remember that not knowing is natural. Everyone begins at unknown incompetence. There is no shame in it. Second, be ready for the discomfort of known incompetence. That frustration is not failure. It is proof you are learning. Third, embrace the grind of conscious competence. Mastery comes only through practice. There are no shortcuts. Fourth, if you are already at unconscious competence, remember humility. Do not forget what it was like to struggle. Use your experience to mentor others and make their journey smoother. And finally, if you are at known competence, take responsibility. Share your awareness with those who are still blind to the challenge. In doing so, you help the entire group move forward faster. Today, we explored the journey from unknown incompetence to known capability. We saw how individuals and organizations pass through 4 stages, from ignorance to awareness to deliberate practice, and finally to mastery. We also highlighted the responsibility of those in known competence to help others out of blindness and into awareness. In our next episode, we will shift focus from personal growth to organizational structure. We will explore the transition from project-oriented work to true product-centric development and lifecycle management. Why is the project mindset often limiting? And how can companies build lasting value by thinking in terms of products instead of temporary projects? That is coming up in episode 3. Outro music fades in gently. Stay tuned for the next episode of my channel.